All right. Well, back on the race saw a little bit today. I've been messing with it this week. I switched it over to methanol, and I've been messing with it this week. And it ran good until it got on top end, and then once it got on the top end, it wouldn't hold it. It was just running out of fuel. It'd come up on RPM, and then it would just blah, it would just run completely slap out of fuel. So I drilled. I got another carb for this. I've had it, but I drilled the jet on it, tried it again. Same thing. It just wouldn't hold RPM on top end. So I went down the bellhoppers today and spent the day down there, and we did a little work to it. Um, I'm sure some of y'all seen this on his live feed. He was working on it all through his live feed, and well before that too. Uh, we finally got it sorted. I sat here last night scheming what uh, on what we could do to get more fuel, and we run it some day before we did anything, and just couldn't get it to hold the fuel up. So it seemed it was what it was doing was we believe it was just pulling the carb dry on top end is why it was just dying out. So we ended up I looked last night to see if this would work, and I thought it would. So we ended up we cut the top, we cut the fuel pump off of another carb, and we stacked it on regular carb, effectively making a double pumper out of this Walbro WB37. So that's what we spent pretty much the day doing, is getting that other pump on top of the original pump, and it worked. It holds fuel now on the top end, and it took a lot of work to do this, but it does work. We ran it today, made a cut with it too. It still didn't lean out, but here's kind of what we got. It's kind of a mess of fuel lines. I drilled into the transfer port and put me a nipple in there for another impulse, because we got two separate impulses here. This one pulses the top diaphragm. This one pulses the bottom diaphragm in the original diaphragm for the carb. It pulses that one. And then fuel wise, we got tank fuel coming up here into the upper fuel pump. Goes in, and then it comes out right here on this tie-gun line, loops around, and then it feeds the original fuel pump for the carb. And that pump feeding that pump seemed to work out real well. So we got it all on there. It works. We had to do some mods to get all this fit in there. We had to shave some fins off a little bit more, and file some bolts, and cut the back of the head off. As you can see, we ended up cutting the whole back of the head off to get all this to fit in there, but it finally did fit. Yeah, I thought I'd just show you all that. Turns about 18, close to 18,000 on the top end. So it's moving pretty good. And we did stick it in a little piece of wood, and it did not run out of fuel even then, so we got good fuel for right now. Now once I put nitro in this, that story might change. We might have to do something else. This carb is drilled too. The jet in this carb is drilled. We tried that first, and it still was running out of fuel, so yeah, it's just kind of been a progression of what's been happening. Yeah, it's just a little update. I ain't done nothing with this saw in a while. Of course, y'all know I built this back in November, December, and it's just been sitting here since then. I finally decided the other day to switch to methanol and then develop some new problems. So we worked through those. Now, when I switch to nitro, we might develop some even newer problems. We'll just see what happens with it, but just figured I'd show y'all kind of what I've been up to today and kind of pilfering with it this week. Yeah, that's about all I got right now. Worked out pretty good though. You have a good one.